to Port Harcourt, Enugu to Ilorin. All across Nigeria, we bring you news and information that will make your day. We are news. We are 24 News Radio TV.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us on 24 News Radio and Television. This is the news at noon. I am Olushola Oyewale. The Nigeria Governors Forum, NGF, has pledged to support the federal government's initiative aimed at enhancing the growth and development of Nigeria's creative economy and tourism sectors. Gombe State Governor Muhammadu Yahya made the announcement while reading a communique issued after the NGF second meeting held in Abuja. He said that the federal government has outlined key strategic interventions to grow the arts, culture, tourism and creative economic contributions to the gross domestic product (GDP) to $100 billion by 2030 and to create over 3 million jobs. Yahya said that the governors at the meeting deliberated on the sector and other issues affecting the country, including insecurity. In a bid to finally close the chapter on the lingering 2009 ASUU agreement, a high-stakes meeting is expected to hold in Abuja today as the federal government is trying to make a counter-offer to the university teachers and translate years of stalled renegotiations into concrete, implementable commitments with the academic staff union of universities, ASUU. Informed sources hinted that the Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Tunji Alausa, will join the Minister of Labour and representatives of the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission, NSIWC, and the Solicitor General to meet ASUU leaders to examine how to finally implement the renegotiated 2009 Federal Government of Nigeria and ASUU agreement and related reports produced in the most recent round of negotiations. According to officials, the meeting will be tasked with delivering a clear timetable for signature and phased implementation. The urgency of the move comes amid warnings from ASUU branches nationwide that their patience is exhausted after a renegotiation process concluded in December 2024 and formally submitted to government in February 2025. Union leaders insist that the draft must now be signed and implemented to avoid another nationwide shutdown of public universities. It will be recalled that at a briefing in Abuja, the zonal coordinator of ASUU Abuja Zone, Professor Al-Amin Abdullahi, stressed that the union had kept its part of the bargain and expected government to demonstrate seriousness by adopting the report without delay. The 2009 agreement was signed under the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua and promised comprehensive reforms to Nigeria's public universities, including sustained revitalization, funding, institutional autonomy, a negotiated salary and conditions package for academics, and a monitoring framework for implementation. Its partial or non-implementation across successive administrations has led to recurring strikes. The All Progressives Congress (APC) has clarified that despite the widespread endorsement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the second term, other party members interested in the presidency will still be free to contest for the party's ticket in the 2027 primaries. APC's National Organizing Secretary, Sulaiman Agungu, made the statement during an interactive session with journalists at the party's National Secretariat in Abuja. He reaffirmed that the party's leadership, including the National Working Committee, the Progressives Governors Forum, led by Governor Hope Uzodinma, and the National Assembly leadership under Senator Godswill Akpabio, had endorsed Tinubu's re-election bid in recognition of his outstanding performance. However, Agungu stressed that the APC, as a party committed to democratic principles, would not shut its doors against other aspirants. Meanwhile, the Lagos State chapter of the All Progressives Congress (APC) has berated former President Olusegun Obasanjo over his recent comments alleging that President Bola Tinubu was competing with the late former President Muhammadu Buhari in incompetence, describing it as laughable and hypocritical. APC spokesman in Lagos, Sheye Oladejo, in a statement, said it was disheartening that Obasanjo, whose tenure is remembered more for political arrogance, squandered opportunities, and democratic subversion, would have the audacity to label anyone as incompetent. He said that President Tinubu has taken decisions no previous leader had the courage to take, such as removing fuel subsidies, overhauling the foreign exchange regime, and confronting entrenched inefficiencies to fix what others, including Obasanjo, had failed to do. Some leaders of the PDP are holding high-level consultations to get former President Goodluck Jonathan to run on the party's ticket for the 2027 presidential race. This came on a day presidential aspirant Dr. Gbenga Olawepo Hashim declared that the party's zoning of its 2027 presidential ticket to the South will not stand, insisting that the final decision lies with the National Convention and not the National Executive Committee (NEC). Sources close to the former president confirmed the meeting between Dr. Jonathan and the PDP leaders to woo him ahead of the 2027 presidential election. And still on the forthcoming 2027 presidential election, former Rivers State Governor and chieftain of the African Democratic Congress ADC, Rotimi Amechi, has declared that there is no retreat, no surrender in his quest to contest the presidency in 2027 on the platform of the ADC. Amechi, who also served as Nigeria's Minister of Transportation from 2015 to 2022, stated this during an interaction with journalists in Kano after a meeting with a coalition of traders in the state. He insisted that the ADC primary election must be open, stressing that he would not step aside for any aspirant. The former minister maintained that every aspirant in the party had the right to seek the ticket, describing the contest as healthy for internal democracy. On the state of the country under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Amechi criticized the administration, saying Nigerians were dissatisfied with its policies and governance style. The news at noon is coming to you from 24 News Radio and Television. You can download our app on Google Play Store, monitor us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. Please like and share our page. And now on to the rest of the news. The Osun State government has said it will obtain the certified true copy of the judgment of a United States court that sentenced the Akpetumodu of Ikpetumodu, Oba Joseph Oloyede, to prison over a multi-million-dollar COVID-19 relief fund fraud. Oba Oloyede, a dual citizen of Nigeria and the United States, was on Tuesday sentenced to 56 months in prison by U.S. District Judge Christopher Boyko. He was also ordered to serve 3 years of supervised release and pay over $4 million in restitution. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Ohio, the monarch forfeited his Medina, Ohio home, purchased with proceeds of the scheme, and over $96,000 traced to the fraud. The Osun State Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Matters, Mr. Doshu Babatunde, said the government would not act based on social media reports, but would obtain the CTC of the judgment before making any decision regarding this tool. The Adamawa State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has made a seizure of over 500 kilograms of assorted hard drugs within 2 months. While addressing journalists at the command's headquarters along Duman Road, the commander, Aliyu Abubakar, said the success recorded was due to the commitment to transparency, accountability, and fostering public trust in the nation's collective fight against the scourge of drug abuse and illicit trafficking. On prosecution, Abubakar pointed out that the command had secured the convictions of 15 convicts to various terms of imprisonment within the period under review, with 50 cases pending at various stages of prosecution at the Federal High Court, Yola. He want those who were investing in the illicit drugs business to repent or face the full wrath of the law. In a similar development, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) has arrested 37 suspected internet fraudsters in Bukari, Taraba State. The anti-graft agency disclosed this in a statement on its official social media handle, noting that the suspects were apprehended behind the Federal University, Bukari. According to the EFCC, the arrest of the suspected internet fraudsters was aided by credible intelligence gathered on their suspected involvement in cybercrimes, adding that 2 cars, 12 laptops, and 46 phones were some of the items recovered from the fraudsters. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) has carried out a clearance operation that led to the rescue of all 618 passengers aboard a derailed Kaduna-bound train along the Abuja-Kaduna rail corridor. Corps spokesperson Afolabi Babawale, who made the statement in Abuja, explained that the Corps promptly deployed a tactical team of officers to the scene as part of its commitment to disaster response and national asset protection upon receiving the distress report. The Commandant General of the NSCDC, Professor Ahmed Audu, who led the team to the site, reaffirmed the Corps' commitment to its core mandate. The CG, accompanied by key stakeholders from the nation's security and transport sectors, conducted an on-the-spot assessment of the derailment. He emphasized the need for stronger preventive measures along the corridor to safeguard passengers and infrastructure. Kyiv was struck by a massive attack from Russia overnight with drones and missiles, killing at least 15 people, including 4 children, according to officials. Among those killed are children aged 2, 17, and 14, according to Timur Tkachenko, head of the Kyiv City Military Administration, adding that at least 10 children were also injured. Ukraine's Air Force said that the Kremlin unleashed 629 air attack weapons on the country overnight, comprising 598 drones and 31 missiles. Russia's defense ministry said it struck military industrial complex enterprises and military air bases in Ukraine using high-precision weapons. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called the attack a horrific and deliberate killing of civilians. And from France comes the report that France has returned 3 scores to Madagascar more than a century after they were taken, including one believed to be that of a 19th century Malagasy king who was beheaded by French troops. The repatriation of the scores to the island nation of the southeastern coast of Africa marks the first time France has implemented a 2023 law enabling the return of human remains to a country for funeral purposes. France conquered the kingdoms of Sakalava people in western Madagascar in the 1890s and integrated the Sakalava into a newly formed French colony. Also, one of the 3 Sakalava skulls returned to Madagascar, which gained independence from France in 1960, is presumed to be that of King Touira, the French Minister of Culture said in a statement on Tuesday. He was executed by French troops in 1897. The skulls had been kept in collections held by France's National Museum of Natural History until they were formally handed over at a ceremony at the Culture Ministry on Tuesday. And now sports news. World record holder in the women's 100 meters hurdles, Toby Amushon, has withdrawn from the final of this year's Diamond League in Zurich. The final Diamond League event of the year began in Zurich on Wednesday and will end today with some of the world's best athletes jostling for a $50,000 prize in top disciplines. Amushon qualified for the event as the second best athlete in the discipline this season, amassing 27 points. She has, however, pulled out of the final and has been replaced by Divine Charlton of the Bahamas. And still on sports, the 2025-26 UEFA Champions League phase is officially set after Benfica, Club Brugge, Qarabag and Copenhagen sealed the final 4 spots in Wednesday's playoff second legs. The quartet's victories complete the expanded 36-team lineup, with the draw taking place today in Monaco. Kairat Almaty carved their names into football history on Tuesday night, booking a maiden UEFA Champions League group stage berth after outlasting Celtic 3-2 on penalties in Almaty. Norway's Bodo Glimt secured a group stage place, despite losing 2-1 at Sturm Graz, progressing 6-2 on aggregate after last week's emphatic 5-0 home win. And now you're done with sports. Lionel Messi scored twice late in the game as Inter Miami fought back to beat Orlando City 3-1 and reached the final of the League's Cup on Wednesday. After missing 2 straight matches with a right thigh injury, Messi converted a penalty in the 77th minute to pull Inter level at 1-1, then combined with Jordi Alba to put the hosts ahead in the 88th minute. Talasco Segovia added a third in injury time as Miami returned to the final of the League's Cup. The cross-border competition featuring teams from Major League Soccer and Mexico's Liga MX. Inter won it in 2023, Messi's first season in MLS. Well, dear viewer and dear listener, that's our package on the news at noon, coming to you from 24 News Radio and Television. Do join us again at 5 when we shall be coming your way with a news update. Good afternoon and thank you for watching.
From Abuja to Lagos, Sokoto to Port Harcourt, Enugu to Ilorin, all across Nigeria, we bring you news and information that will make your day. We are